This is it, guys. First time on Couy Reviews, we were exclusive to DeviantArt during Season 1 through literature deviations, reviewing just animated movies like Simpsons, Into the Spider-Verse, Secret of Nim, Food Fight, and 8 more. But, we moved here to YouTube with Season 2, where we still reviewed animated films like Princess and the Frog, Wolfwalkers, the 1996 Sonic movie, and 9 others. Then Season 3 came out, with half as much reviews, 2 that are animated, Surf's Up and Wreck-It Ralph, and 4 were live action, Sonic the Hedgehog 2, The Dreadful Descendants, and the previously reviewed Van Slam, which leads us here. The finish line that will end Couy Reviews for good. What is this series finale? I have just one word. Sleepover. This is a 2004 film from MGM Studios that kept getting recommended to me on YouTube back in 2020, so I gave it a watch on Tubi a year later, and just like Van Slam, I thought it was just good at my first viewing, but as I rewatch it and think about it, it got better and better. Ooh, here comes that spark again. Unlike the movie that comes out 5 years later, this took 10 years for critics to praise it, but it was also poorly marketed and a box office bomb. But it was for a different reason. Back when it was released, critics gave it the Black Adam treatment, except with an unreasonably low rating on Rotten Tomatoes. And it got what should be known as the worst trailer ever created for a theatrical film. That trailer is the worst, because it spoiled the entire movie. Literally. I know most full trailers can spoil a lot of their respective movie these days, but back then, when studios do that, they would turn their respective movie into a box office bomb, and this movie is the prime example. Nowadays, it's not getting the treatment of Hocus Pocus and the Iron Giant. I can't see why people would find this film underrated, and I'm gonna tell you why it's underrated. It's the story of Jules Corky, whose best friend is moving to Canada after they graduate from middle school and start high school after the summer, so they throw a sleepover with a redhead and a fat chick, hence the title, until Stacy turns it into a scavenger hunt for a lunch spot. It may be predictable, but I can forgive that for 2 things. Charm and originality. The charm of the cartoony gags throughout the whole thing, and the originality of the plot structure and the concept. The sheer idea of turning a sleepover that's supposed to celebrate the last day of school into a scavenger hunt for a place to eat lunch in high school, with a side of stealing your crush's undergarments to make them fall in love with the protagonist, something that's never done or been copied in a feature film, not even in a teen movie. The film doesn't have to take itself seriously to fit the tone and world of what the movie went for. It's just a fun, quirky teen adventure with no need for realism. The only pop culture reference the movie made is that Russell's nickname is SpongeBob, with a few product placements sprinkled in there, but the whole world building is still its own thing. The addition of enjoyable comedy and a message of accepting change and having a fresh new start is a nice touch to make the film a worthwhile ride. I'll talk about this in the characters section, but just like the last film I reviewed, the story is also character-driven, where we see Jules grow as a teenager and a strong, independent woman. Like I said, the way this movie develops its characters by letting them tell the story is creative. I just love character-driven movies like that. They just make me feel like I'm actually hanging out with those guys. They seem fun to be around, and make me feel less lonely. Speaking of which, here are my thoughts on the whole cast of characters, and the reason why this movie needs to be a franchise. The whole point of watching this film is to see the girls break out of their GT friend zone to race on that scavenger hunt against some mean queen bees. Boy, did this deliver on the evolution of middle school graduates. Of course, like I mentioned, you got Jules Corky, a girl whose best friend moves to Vancouver so she has to determine who she would be in high school. She starts out as the worrying gal pal that's afraid of being lonely in her freshman year. Then, as she goes on that scavenger hunt, she slowly becomes this bold and snarky delinquent that finds a way to fight her troubles to save herself and those around her. But you also got her rival Stacy Blake, played by the sexiest actress of the 2000s, Sarah Paxton. She is the Queen Junior guy that created the whole scavenger hunt in order to sabotage what could have been a normal sleepover. Sarah Paxton herself did a great job playing someone you love to hate, and she almost got a redemption arc at the end. That's what I wanna see in a sequel, cause I see more potential in her. Between those girls is the skater boy known as Russell SpongeBob Hayes, an annoying diary raider that later turns out to be the true hero of this film that fixes Julie's problems and roots for the good girls to win. He's also responsible for Stacy's redemption, as he has a crush on her for many years. Whoops, I forgot to write this in the script. We have the girl that's moving to Canada herself, Hannah Carlson. She's basically responsible for all of Julie's character development, which shows she's a great mentor for the protag. The other characters don't offer as much, but they're still likable nonetheless, like Fairlight James, Yancy Williams, Steve Phillips himself, his friend Greg, Julie's parents, Peter, Dave Corrado and those you still love to hate like Liz Daniels, and especially Steve Carroll as Officer Shiner. Fun fact, 3 of the adult actors starred in animated movies that become timeless classics: Jeff Garlin in 2008's Wall-E, Steve Carroll in 2010's Despicable Me, and Jane Lynch in 2012's Wreck-It Ralph, which I reviewed. This movie needs a franchise just to build upon this whole cast alone, and to see the teens go through high school, just like I said about Van Slam. I know this movie's not a musical, but with an exceptional Spice Girls wannabe and Steppenwolf's Born to Be Wild, the songs used in the background are so unique and iconic to this movie that I have to give them a mention. Songs like Stuck, Having Fun, Hole in the Head, That's What Girls Do, We Close Our Eyes, Everybody Have Fun Tonight, Remember and a few others are such catchy tunes that go hard. They make me love the music from my own decade of birth even more with their video game-like synth and loud house guitar solos. There's even a Euro-electronic cover of Heaven's a Place on Earth. The soundtrack is the same age as the movie, and it came out 18 years ago. It needs to be on Spotify, like the whole soundtrack, that way I can listen to the other songs used in the film. So that's my thoughts on this big cinematic masterpiece that is Sleepover. It's a guilty pleasure to the max, but everything that's been done here is perfected in the greatest way, from the top-notch writing, the original story, memorable characters, unique soundtrack, and all that jazz. If you haven't seen this film and are either a fan of teen movies, chick flicks, family-friendly comedies, some of the actors that star in this, the 2000s, or just movies, please go watch this film. It's automatically a 10 out of 10 with a heart badge, and the perfect ending to the web series known as Couy Reviews. I'd like to thank all you viewers for watching this journey on YouTube, and those on DeviantArt for reading Season 1 and being there the whole way through. I'm so glad to end this show due to lack of passion for writing 3 or 4 page scripts worth of reviewing movies and the roller coaster of views under 100. Thanks to this series finale, I get to work on bigger projects for this channel like Ranked and my first animated web series, get a temporary job to make money in real life, and especially writing stories for my own movies that I dream to direct in the future. This is Couy, giving a final goodbye to my 3 seasons of reviews to animated features released outside of the 2020s and some live-action movies too, and signing out.
Remember where we are now.